Welcome to the Scottsdale Vibes podcast. I'm Alicia Haygood. I just graduated from Scottsdale Leadership Class 39. It was an amazing experience, and it's one where every other Friday we learned something different about the community of Scottsdale. So one of the days was Human Health Services Day, where I learned about all the community outreach programs here in Scottsdale. I was literally just dumbfounded at the end of the day about how much we actually have here. Free services, helpful services for our community. And I think it's important that we teach one another and really understand Scottsdale's amazing, but it was even more amazing when you realize how much is out there for us to use. So today we're going to talk about Scottsdale Community Partners, the opportunities coming up, how we help our own here. I have the most amazing Denny Brown with us at the table. So we're going to take a short break and you'll get to meet the famous downtown Denny Brown. When it comes to protecting you, your family, and all your assets, you need to have someone that you can trust, and that's Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance. Jeremy Mueller has lived in Scottsdale his whole life. How can anyone else know your needs more than someone who's been here and seen it all? Jeremy and his team are always ranked in the top % at State Farm. He cares, he's knowledgeable, and most importantly, he's always available. Don't believe me? Give him a call at 480-515-5223 or find him at jeremymueller.com. Scottsdale is one of the most amazing cities. We all know it. That's why we call it home. But I don't know if you know how much we actually do to support our one another. Downtown Denny Brown, as many of you in Scottsdale know, has been making a difference here for decades. He asked me not to tell you how many decades, but it's been a long time. He's done everything from acting, sales. He was SUSD PTO President. He was a school board member for SUSD. And he does work for the little few organizations around town. But today, one of his important roles to me, and as well as another one we're going to talk about, EVIT, is the Scottsdale Community Partners. So, Denny, thank you.
My
Welcome. We talked about just a few of your accomplishments that you've had since over the decades, but I want to talk about Scottsdale Community Partners, and I want to talk about them because I think it's important with the season that we're going into.
Yes.
The heat is rising. Our home services prices are rising. It's inevitable. It happens. Everything else. I want to talk about the Scottsdale Community Partners because there's so many things listed underneath there that are here to help our community members. So before we get into that, tell me what got you involved in Scottsdale on this Partners program, on EVIT, and everything on that side of our community.
So I didn't come off the road till I was 40.
Oh, good. I'm 42, so I'm starting at the same time.
Yes, and there's so much to look forward to. So I came off the road, and I just happened to be in one of my favorite saloons, the Kamikaze Coast, after 9 o'clock at night.
Oh, nice.
I go to bed at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I just happened to be up. Harley was parked out front, and I met this young lady. She jumped on the back of the Harley. We haven't been apart since.
Aww.
That's 32 years. Now, the reason I bring that up is because I had kids late. So here, all of a sudden, I'm a 50-something-year-old guy, and they say, Denny, at school, ho-ho-com, as a matter of fact, Denny, have you ever been to a PTA meeting? I go, no. Well, Denny, could you help us out at the PTA? I said, sure. What do you need? They said, we'll call you next week. So I'm in the
Mistake number one, Denny.
Oh, I know. So they call me the next week. What do you want me to do? I want you to be the PTA president.
Yeah.
No, never been there. Well, at the same time, SUSD is looking at our schools in South Scottsdale, saying we're going to have to close a school. All of a sudden now, I'm a school organizer in South Scottsdale saying, no, you can't close these schools. That's just harmful to the whole neighborhood. So that's the beginning. Then from there, you end up on the school board.
Great, because I'm super involved in my kids' school, so I feel like we're starting at the same time in life. Maybe I should ask you to leave. I don't know what my future looks like.
Yeah, but before all that, I'm a racetrack guy. I was at Firebird Raceway for 20 years. I was on an IndyCar team. Scott Pruitt, John Paul Jr. Yeah. And then let's see what else. Our company introduced the Infiniti to the United States.
Oh.
So here's this brand new car, comes off the boat, comes down to Maricopa. Denny Brown is working just logistics. I'm just putting gas in cars, washing them, making a lot of money. And working with race car drivers like Unsers and Dallenbachs.
Wow.
And it became a business. So now we're all over the United States, which is why I didn't come off the road till I was 40. But I moved here in 87 to do film.
Well, I mean, your history of Scottsdale goes back forever. So what brought you to Scottsdale?
Film.
Okay.
So I'm living in Omaha. And by the way, this is very familiar because
being back in the studio.
American Gramophone, Chip Davis, Mannheim Steamroller.
Yes.
I worked in their studio for years. That's how I made a good buck in Omaha and in Kansas City.
Okay.
But that market dried up. And I looked around. I called my sister who happened to live here. Hey, Barb, you got an extra room for an old guy? So I moved down here and instantly went to work here in L.A.
So what about Scottsdale made you stay here?
I said I always wanted to live 5 minutes from an art gallery, and I love the Southwest.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't see that about you. That's interesting. What about art speaks to you in that sense?
There's a vibe. There's a vibe about art. By the way, the saloons were pretty good along.
They are good. I've been to a few. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was the deal. I love the vibe. I love the entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Whether it's a restaurant or a saloon, whatever, or the galleries.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty cool deal.
I mean, it's great. So get back to why I even had you here. We could talk to you about everything all day. I know. You got involved because of the school system.
Yes, that brought me into the mix. And on the school board, I discovered 6,000 kids on free and reduced lunch in Scottsdale.
So that led you into really getting involved in helping Scottsdale community.
Yes.
So let's talk about that.
Okay.
You work with EVIT.
Yes.
You work with the Scottsdale Community Partners.
Yes.
All of these are resources for our community members.
Yes.
I guarantee you so many of our community doesn't even know about what's out there.
No.
So talk about how you went from supporting our kids just in the school system, really supporting kids and families outside of the schools because you saw firsthand.
So I realized the need, and Scottsdale Community Partners have been funding the food bank and different aspects, different Scottsdale programs, like back to school.
That's a huge one, yeah.
Yeah, so Dr. Peterson, the superintendent at the time, introduces me. He said, Danny, I want you to meet somebody. So I meet Bill Murphy over at the city, and he, Bill, I heard you wanted to talk. What do you want to talk about? He goes, well, Denny, we have this little program, Back to School. We serve about 350, 400 kids over 3 days. They come through Vista del Camino and get everything they need to start the school year. I said, Bill, that's just great. I got 6,000 kids on free and reduced lunch.
Yeah.
And Bill, I hate to say this, but that kind of feels like charity.
Yeah.
Can we do something different? We moved it to the ballpark that year. One day, 144 volunteers and 900 kids came through that day.
Wow.
And got everything. And I'm talking clothing, shoes, socks, dental screenings.
Yeah.
I mean, everything you could possibly need backpacks full of supplies to start the school year with pride. And that was probably about 2016.
Wow.
And we're still doing that.
And now it's growing every year.
Well, we do have limitations.
Okay.
Because dollars do limit you, but we're still hanging around 1,000 kids every year.
And it's just helping our Scottsdale kids here in town.
Yes, SUSD.
Yeah.
So that's starters. The other thing, so where there's kids and families, there's food insecurity. So now all of a sudden, I'm involved on the peripheral with the food bank. Jenny Adams, my boss, calls and, Denny, you've been helping us out. Can you do something? We need a freezer or we need a refrigerator. Denny then calls his buddies at the Charos.
Yeah.
Hey, Charos, I need a refrigerator. And boom, it happens. So that's what kind of got broader. But in 2020, Jenny called. Denny, we want you to come work for us. I go, what do you need? We want you to call people and ask for money.
You're like, that's what I've been doing.
That's perfect. So I went to work, huge dollars.
Yeah.
And I've been there doing that since 2020.
How has that changed you as a person?
You know, I got to tell you, there's something else involved in this. And I started working at churches because my kids were all in after-school programs, and my lovely bride worked in banking. So somebody had to be available at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock to get the kids out of school, get them dressed, and get them to all the sporting activities. I ended up in churches. Started out Shepherd of the Hills.
Okay.
Yeah, what'd they call me? I was a sexton, or I was a youth coordinator.
Okay.
It's a glorified janitor.
Youth coordinator is.
I was a janitor there for years, and then left there and ended up a janitor at Scottsdale United Methodist Church. And the only reason I bring that up gives you a head perspective.
Okay.
I'm not a big thumper or something, you know. I'm just a guy that old heathen out running around, and perspective. But that also gives you perspective on not only youth, but the older brethren.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to ask me about, well, here we are in heat. And then the older brethren are getting kicked out of their apartments because they're on fixed income and the rent's gone so high.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like kids, SUSD, all that was great. But guess what? Your kids got older.
Yes,
we're getting older.
Yes.
So I think as you go through these stages of life, the way that we care, the way that we want to give back, that shifts, right?
Yes.
Because we have new interest and new concerns and new problems that we see.
And new understanding.
New understandings. I love that because that's truly what it is,
yes.
knowledge. So talk about, it's not just the kids. It's not these, back to school. It's not the food banks. It's rent assistant. It is finding you a job assistance. It is helping you with your bills, everything. So talk about these opportunities and resources.
Okay, now Scottsdale Community Partners does provide rent assistance to the older brethren or to any family. They also deal closely with utility assistance this time of year.
Yeah, which is huge right now.
Yeah. In addition to that, I just got off the phone with the firefighters who donate water for Beat the Heat.
Oh, nice.
So here's a situation where a social worker from Scottsdale takes water to homebound seniors, and it's not just bringing the water. It's taking some other essentials.
But it literally could be checking on them.
Well, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
How's your AC working?
Right.
Whatever. Open up the fridge. Do you have food in the fridge?
Right.
There are programs for that. So we want to help you out. So that's just one aspect for the seniors. I mean, there's also Adopt a Senior at the holidays.
Oh, that's cute.
I'll tell you real fast.
Yeah.
Okay, so I go down and help just load cars. I mean, that's all I do. One day a week during the holidays, load cars for the seniors. Well, here's this cart, and it's got a big old box on it, and my car's out here. Now, the cars are usually full of stuff.
Right.
So here's a big, here's a big, huge box, and I get it out there, and I'm jamming it, and the lady looks, she goes, "Oh my God, that's my microwave." Tears.
Aw. See, you're getting choked up. I know. I do it too. People don't understand. Sometimes we think big.
Yes.
And we think that's what people need. I want to give $1 million to, all those kind of that's great. Those things are absolutely needed.
Yes.
I don't have $1 million to give.
I hear you.
So for me, it's those small moments, that make just as large as an impact sometimes as the huge monetary donations,
Exactly right. People just seeing somebody. I'm going to go back one more time. This community is caring.
Yeah. Yes.
Extremely caring.
Yeah.
And they give. And they keep giving. Thank God.
Yeah. Seriously, it does. With all of that, where can people go to find these resources? Because like you said earlier, a lot of it's embarrassment. We don't want to ask for help. I sometimes don't want to ask for help for the simplest things in my life, right? Like for these families, these individuals, that's a big ask for them. Where can they go to maybe find the help or reach out and not feel that embarrassment from the community or friends or family in that kind of sense?
Get over the embarrassment.
Yeah, I agree.
Vista del Camino would probably be the best place to stop in, make an appointment, talk to one of their social workers for families. Mm-hmm. For the seniors, Granite Reef Senior Center or Via Linda Senior Center.
They're also really fun. We were line dancing when we went, by the way.
I just took over.
I made it done the shuffle a few times.
I'm not going to say what I said. But there are resources out there. Don't be afraid. Reach out and just ask. Mm-hmm. There's stories about seniors calling. Hi, I'm being evicted tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Can you help? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, because they were in denial. Don't be in denial. Do not wait. These people are waiting and anxious to help you down at the senior centers. So take advantage of that. And speaking of kids going to school, I'll just transition for you.
I love it.
So I am the executive director of the EVIT Foundation.
Right. What is EVIT?
Okay, East Valley Institute of Technology. Mm-hmm. That's the trade school. Mm-hmm. So all your trades. My son went to Saguaro, graduated on a Thursday, had gone to EVIT for 2 years, and on Friday, he was a full-time certified welder.
Isn't that crazy?
And that's available to kids. Mm-hmm. Now, it's all paid for. Tuition is all paid for through the state, just like going to a public school. But here's where the foundation comes in. The EVIT Foundation, there are expenses like uniforms, equipment, and all that. If you qualified for free and reduced lunch, we'll cover that. Automatic. It's just automatic. Okay, we'll pay for that. So that's what we do.
It's amazing. But not only that, these kids get the opportunity to come out of high school working. And so many of these families need that job money right away. You know, growing up, I grew up in Georgia. When we went into high school, we had to have a college prep or we had a technical path. And if you went to the technical path, your junior or senior year, you went to the technical school. You had your basics in the morning, and then every afternoon you went to the technical school. And these kids graduated with a technical degree and went out working.
Yes.
Mechanics, the plumbers, the electricians, you know, the welders, and all of those kind of things, which was great for them because that's what we still need those jobs, by the way. They're not going anywhere.
You know,
and it's needed.
My age group, when I was growing up, you kind of felt like you were a loser if you didn't go to college.
Yeah. You're still kind of that way a little bit, I think.
A little bit. Mm-hmm. So when I talk to like Dr. Menzel, SUSD superintendent, Chad Wilson, superintendent at EVIT, Eric Lashinsky, president of SCC, I say, guys, I'd love to see all the three of you stand up in front of an 8th grade class or a 9th grade class and say, you have options.
Right.
It's huge. You are not pinned like a rat.
No.
You can get out and do stuff, and money is not a huge issue because there are so many programs.
Well, we had Veronica Aguilar on here a couple weeks ago. She was talking about, she started the Young and Empowered group, and she's a big mentor for women here and girls in college. And she was talking about the opportunities that she was given. She's a Scottsdale grad, born and raised here in Scottsdale. She did not grow up, you know, extremely wealthy. She had to look for scholarships. She was so unaware, living here her whole life, the opportunities that were available to her. She thought she was about to drop out of school when her, teacher came up to her and said, no, look all these scholarships we have for you. And she had her school paid for because of how we take care of each other here.
I do fee days down at EVIT, so that young people come through and pay their fees and all that stuff. And if there's assistance needed, one of the registrars will bring the person out. And we sit down and it takes 5 minutes to fill out this app, and only 5 minutes to find out if you're approved. So it happens that fast. But it was this one day, a young lady comes in and she goes, I'd kind of like to make a change. And I've already got a scholarship. And I was in cosmetology. I want to move to construction. And I thought, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
You should see the young ladies in construction, in welding, all these things.
I love it.
It's just very cool.
Well, I love it. We can do whatever anybody does, right? As long as we put our mind to it. Yeah.
Sure.
What are the biggest needs right now as we head into summer for families and people like us that need to give more than receive in this situation?
You know, real simple things. Take a case of water down to Granite Reef Senior Center.
Okay. Simple.
Yeah, that drop something off. And
I know a lot of our library systems around here
yes.
are hosted. I know my library in my neighborhood, Arabian Library, they take water stations as well. So
yes.
It's that simple right now.
That's the beat the heat. So a senior can come by, or the social worker goes out with that water. Makes it real easy.
Denny, you are so well known in this community for your givingness and I know, he says that so modestly, but you are, and I appreciate people like you because it takes people like you to just do it. You know, you see an issue, or in your case, you're just told to do it and you say yes. But what does Scottsdale look like to you from where you are, from when you started getting involved to where you are today, to where the future looks like?
An incredible community. Like we said, a caring community. I love the independence. I love the entrepreneurship. I love the schools. Of course, I'm partial to, and I sold real estate. But the school in a neighborhood it grounds the neighborhood. It also brings in young families. I don't want to be a East Senior Center. No, I want to have a thriving community full of youth and a place for the seniors. So I think we're working to get that well-rounded feeling.
Yeah.
You know, and that's huge.
What do you think it takes to get that well-rounded feeling?
Well, you're not getting me into all the politics.
No, not at all. This is an individual. For me, my answer would be like a community connector. That's what I call myself, right?
Well, that's good.
I bring the community together to support one another, what your needs are, your businesses, that. So for me, that's what I see. So for you, not political at all when I ask that, is like, what does that mean to you or look like for you?
Okay, let's start affordable housing in some way, shape, or at least entry-level housing.
Yeah.
Good schools and jobs.
Yeah.
I mean,
the 3 basic needs of everybody. Yes. Yeah, I love it. And I think we're so lucky to have what we have in Scottsdale.
Yes, right? I agree.
And so when I talk about this or ask that, it's more of like, these are improvement questions, not problem questions sometimes.
It's just so much. I'm going to go back to Community Partners for a sec. We've been around 50 years. Mm-hmm. Nobody's ever heard of us.
Well, yes.
I mean, so
I didn't. Yes.
So when Jenny brought me on, yes, I said 50% of my job is asking for money, but 50% of my job is just telling the story.
Right.
So that's why I got involved with the chamber. Yeah. That's why I got involved with Scottsdale leadership, and just get out there and be visible.
I love that. That's it. It doesn't take much to make the biggest difference.
It takes some.
But it takes, I think, for me at least, it's like, it takes less than I figured it was. You go into this and you have this, oh my gosh, look at this massive issue or problem or, solution that I'm trying to get to. And then when you simplify, you're like, oh,
you know what?
I have a ton of people that can come in and help me, and here it goes.
You just start.
You just start.
And no, I can't do all that in a day, and I can't do all that, period.
Right, but we're doing it for Scottsdale.
I can do something.
But we're doing it for one another, and I think that's, to me, what makes the biggest difference. So every question I ask every person before we leave is, and you kind of mentioned this earlier, but what's your favorite Scottsdale vibe? I know. It's so funny because I think it's an easy question. It trumps everybody that sits at the table next to me for 4 years.
I'm not trumped.
Okay. It can't be me, by the way.
Oh, darn it. Okay, I'll think of something else. Okay. Old Town is just cool. Mm-hmm. And my favorite joint now is the Night Owl.
Okay. I haven't tried that one yet.
Oh, McDowell and Hayden.
Yeah.
But it's brought in so many aspects of old Scottsdale.
How fun.
I mean, it's just cool.
Okay.
You're too young for the Kamikaze Coast?
No. I am too young for that, yeah.
Yeah. But it reminds me of that.
Also wasn't here. I've only been here like 6 years.
Oh, well. Kamikaze Coast was right down from Don and Charlie's. Okay. Don Carson's.
Yeah.
And, so that's the Old Town that I know.
I like it. The original Old Town kind of area.
Yeah.
I love it. Please go help our community. You never know. You never want to be in that position. So that's help those in need now. You can check it out, Scottsdale Community Partners. The link is in the description of this episode. So we will be sure to take our own. And like Denny said, just bring a freaking case of water to the Granite Reef, to the libraries, anywhere. It'll not go. It'll go appreciated. I promise you that. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we have the calendar of events. Buying a home can be scary and sometimes frustrating, but all of that can go away with the right realtor. And that's where Sean Shackleton with the Shackleton Group is here for you. Sean has over 25 years experience in real estate. She's here to get you what you want and won't settle for less. She's experienced, knowledgeable, and understands this market, which these days is always changing. Take the stress out of your next home purchase by calling Sean at 480-734-7277. You can also find her at theshackletongroup.com. We are wrapping up the month of May, which is crazy. So happy Memorial Day weekend. I know this is a time where all the big pool parties, the barbecues, all of that happen. Please be safe. Don't drink and drive. Make sure that you're not using coal fire out while you're camping. All those things that we brought knowledge to you and should be logical at this point, but you never know. Have fun this Memorial Day weekend. If you're looking for things to do, don't forget Arizona Restaurant Week is going on and finishing up, as well as the Kierland Commons Free Concert Series is happening on Fridays from 6 to 8. Have a wonderful week, Scottsdale. Keep vibing, and I'll see you around town.